The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air. Today we mark a significant occasion, and we celebrate our 200th episode. We want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and supporting us along this incredible journey. To mark this special occasion, we are diving into the topic of faith. Yes, an episode we've long promised. Join us as we delve into biblical stories, uncover the essence of true faith, and learn how unwavering trust in God can ignite our faith journey today. Get ready to be inspired and challenged by powerful examples of faith in action. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right. Welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. All right. So this is episode 200. We've come a long way. God is good.
Amen.
God is good.
They say we come this far by
Faith. Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know where we want to go with this, right? So I think we decided to talk about faith this episode, right? But even before we get there, like we definitely want to thank everyone for tuning in. I mean, episode 200, we've covered a lot of books.
Yeah. Crazy.
When you think about it, right?
Yeah, crazy.
Like, I mean, just from how this started off as a Bible study at first, and then COVID happened, and then, you know, we were one of the podcasters that were birthed out of the COVID pandemic era.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I appreciate people like tuning in and giving the words of encouragement, listening, liking, subscribing, leaving comments, giving us feedback. Like, I mean, we've made it this far because of you guys, and also, you know, because of God's guidance. And yeah, just hungry to learn more about God and, like, you know, talk about it. Like, this is our ministry. That's been going pretty good. It's crazy because, like, a lot of podcasts even make it to like episode 100, let alone 200.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
like, we don't make money from this. So this is literally like a passion project, so to speak. Granted, we still got big dreams that we want to do and things we want to accomplish with the podcast, right? You know, all things come in time. But just the mere fact that we like have stuck with it for 200 weeks straight, that's another thing too. Like, the straight part of it is like, it's insane.
Yeah, bro.
When you start to think about it.
Real talk, bro. Because like, it's almost like a life altering thing, bro. Like,
The
like-
pod is part of our lives.
yeah, like you have to do things with the podcast in mind. You know
Make
what I
decisions
mean?
with the pod. That's real. Like, oh, we about to travel. Okay, do we like record before? Do we do a midweek recording? Is the editing going to happen before, after? Like, like the intros, the skits. When are we going to record these things?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to be in person? Are we going to be over Zoom?
Yeah, and then it's like you can't, bro, you can't just be away from your computer for too long unless you just plan to say we just about to do podcasts in advance, and you know that was gone are the days when we have a stockpile
Man.
of podcasts, bro. We had like 20 episodes at one point, bro.
Yeah, because remember, we stockpile a bunch of them before we released the podcast. My goodness, we do need to get back to those stockpile days, but
Mm-hmm.
again, everything just takes time. It takes time and endurance. Because sometimes you get two solid podcast episodes out. You might have thought you could have get 3, but boy, you all talked out.
Boy, on that day, bro. But you just never know how draining it is. Like it does appear to be very easy to like just turn on the mic and camera and just talk, you know, but you just don't factor in how draining it could be.
To talk.
Yeah, to talk.
To think, to
somewhat come up with a thought that makes sense and is not misleading and factual to the best of our knowledge and not talk ourselves into a hole and
Yeah, that's a.
so it's been a great journey, man. It's been a great journey. So hopefully everyone out there has been enjoying it. Definitely hit the subscribe button or follow button if you're listening to on the streaming platforms. Give us a rating. Definitely share the podcast with other people, man. We definitely want to grow. And part of growing is, engagement from the audience. So if you like it, share it with somebody. And even if it be this episode, it could be this episode, it could be an episode that really touched you. You could repost it on social media. We do need to get our social media pages back going again. I am actually off social media right now, but we do need to put that work in. No, that's going to be post episode 200 energy. But yeah, comment, like, subscribe. We definitely appreciate it. We try to answer back in the comments. We don't have that much comments where we can be like, 1,000 comments, but one day God's willing. But yeah, man, it's been a great journey. It's been a great journey. All the different countries, like even before the podcast, I was like going through like some of the countries we've been listening to, some of the regions, platforms, all kind of stuff. It's been wild. I mean, I think with episode 100 we list them off, but it's a lot of countries when you look at it.
Yeah, but
a lot of countries.
God is good. That's all I can say.
Amen. So, faith.
This is an episode we've been talking about
forever,
bro. Like, we got to do an episode on faith.
And
we got to do an episode on faith.
I take it on the chin. I'm like the main culprit of that. I've been saying this episode for a while. Saying it for a while.
But by the grace of God, it is hell.
The episode on faith. So how you want to kick it off? How you want to start this conversation? What is faith to you?
I mean, it don't even got to be faith to me. I got Hebrews 11.
Yeah, the Hebrews,
right
the main chapter.
The main chapter. Like, so I think this might be the only part of the Bible that actually defines faith.
Explicitly says
what faith is.
Give some type of definition for it, yeah.
So, some of y'all know it. Faith, Hebrews 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Verse 2. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the words were framed by the word of God. The worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are not seen were not made of things. Why can't I read today? So that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. They go into the examples of faith, but like just to hone in on the definition of it. And that was Hebrews 11, verse 1 through 4. I read from the King James Version. Faith is basically proof of something that is not there. Like you wholeheartedly, I am assured that something will manifest, or something is here, or something is tangible, or a feeling is to be expected, but I don't have any proof of it being there. That's faith. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, your barber might cut 10, 20 people a day, right? Your barber might not give you a perfect haircut every time. But you can sit in that chair having faith that he's going to give me a haircut, or a good haircut. You catch what I'm saying? I have faith when I sit in this chair that it's not going to break on me. You catch what I'm saying? Like it's like things that you don't know. You don't have the proof that it's going to happen, but you feel assured that it will happen. You know, that's faith.
And I mean, even to expound out a little bit more, right? Because I agree 100% with everything you just said, right? But even take it a little deeper, right? Like some people talk about blind faith, right? And to me, like the biblical faith ain't blind, right? So now if you lose the example of your barber, right? You have faith that your barber is going to give you a good haircut this time. Because why? You probably went to your barber multiple times before. You probably read reviews. Like something formed the basis of your faith. I think that's like something like I kind of want to hound out or like try to like explore and talk about in this episode too, right? Because a lot of people, when it comes to Christianity, forget Christianity for one split moment, but we're going to come back to that, but just religion in general, saying that, oh, you guys have blind faith in religion. You have blind faith in Christianity. And I'm like, no, faith actually, and a lot of Christians say this too, we just like take a leap of faith and believe in God. I'm like, it's not, it is a leap of faith, quote unquote, but faith comes by reasoning. And it's something like, we're probably going to be in Hebrews 11 a lot, right? But faith actually comes by reasoning and like actually like careful deduction, right? Because here's the thing, right? we have faith in more things, faith, quote unquote, in more things. And we realize you gave the example of this chair, right? You're married. You have faith that Yana ain't gonna poison you this morning. That sounds funny, right?
Yeah.
But think about it. You have a blind faith that Yana is not gonna poison you, but is that faith really blind? No, because you actually know her character.
Yeah.
You actually have examples of her, well, not poisoning you, but you actually believe in the love that she has for you, right? And so, I mean, if we read through, right, we can see like, okay, they gonna say Abraham had faith when God asked him to sacrifice Isaac, right? But you say like by reason, he even said that, oh yeah, by God, by some means would bring my son back from the grave. Because guess what? Isaac alone was already an example of faith. Because he wasn't even supposed to have a son because Sarah was already barren.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into it, but I'm trying to say like faith actually is something that's mental. Then we're going to see faith is also an action. It's one thing to like believe, but it's the next thing to actually act on your beliefs.
Yes. And bro, it's multiple ways we could attack this episode.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
okay, no, but to your point though, it's like it could get into a semantic point about the blindness of it, because someone could easily just say it is the evidence of things unseen, right? So that implies blindness, right? But at the same time, like me, I have to balance. Or whenever I do my workouts for my legs, for my my injured leg. For those who don't know, I had to have knee surgery earlier this year. I have to learn how to balance on this leg. You don't realize how much you balance on a day-to-day basis. Between each step, you are balancing. So it's like if one of my legs cannot balance, you're gonna limp, or you're gonna be you might fall over because you have to learn how to balance. And one of the exercises I do is I bend my knee a little bit and I just stand there balancing, right? Stand there balancing. It's hard enough. But now I have a different variation of that where I close my eyes.
Oh boy.
I'm doing the same, bro. I am doing the same thing. Nothing has changed, bro.
Yeah, people don't realize how hard that actually is.
Bro, nothing has changed, but now I have to close my eyes and balance, and that is the hardest thing in the world. But nothing has changed. The ground beneath me has not moved. It's not like when I close my eyes, the ground turns into like a mattress, and now it's not like firm for me to stand on. Nothing has changed. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, because I can't see, it makes it hard for me to balance, and it makes it hard for me to walk. Even when I'm working on my walking, when I can walk perfectly with my eyes open, especially if I'm in front of a mirror. Close my eyes, it's hard for me to walk. You catch what I'm saying? It's hard for me to walk, right? And it's a metaphor in there. We walk by faith, not by sight. You catch what I'm saying? Like it's a metaphor somewhere in there. But the point I'm trying to make is that even in the midst of what I am doing, when I take away the vision of it, I take away some of my abilities. I take away some of my abilities. So now I have to depend on something that I'm not used to depending on type of situation. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't change my surroundings. But to your faith analogy, we know who God is. If I've never relied on God before, but I know who he is, and I say, bro, I am just going to rely on you and let you do what you want to do. That's blind faith. But it's not blind because we don't know who is in control or who God is. It's blind because we don't know what he's going to do. When I close my eyes, I don't know what is going to happen, but I'm still aware. I'm still in the same scenario that I was in. You catch it? I know the floor that I'm standing on. I know the path that I am walking on, but just because I can't see it, it makes it unfirm for me. You catch what I'm saying? And that makes it all the more difficult. But so I feel like it's room for, both things to be true, but one should not be an excuse for the other. Like when you say blind, it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm sorry, one should not cancel out the other. When you say blind, it shouldn't be that. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but
no, keep going.
When you say blind, it shouldn't be like, bro, I am taking a blind faith and I am following in something that I don't know what I believe in. That is not faith to me.
Exactly.
That's gambling in my opinion.
Exactly.
And even in the investment world, you could put your money in stocks and bonds. You could put your money on sports betting. One of these things is definitely gambling. The other one is a 50-50 if you're gambling.
They call it speculation.
Right. And so the thing about stocks and bonds is like, if you study enough, you can make an informed decision on what you're putting your money into.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? But the difference with gambling is like too many variables that you cannot predict. You catch what I'm saying? So it's a gambling. It's a chance you will lose. It's a high probability that you will lose. When you put your faith in something that you do not know what it is, you are gambling. You do not know enough about this thing. And that's where people criticize Christians. That's when people use faith in a negative context. Oh, y'all blindly following this doctrine, or you blindly following your pastor. Why? Because you have not studied it. You do not know what it is about. You do not have a reason to even follow this thing besides the fact that it might be the feelings or tradition. You know what I'm saying? I do not call that faith at all. I just call that a gamble. You catch what I'm saying? Or I call that unsupported faith, irrational faith.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Because I mean, like, one of the verses I was just looking up too is back in Romans 10:17. I would expand, but I'll read the full thing in context, right? But Romans 10:17 essentially said, you know, faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of God, right? So now, here's the thing. So now, that verse talks about how you get faith. You get faith by hearing the word of God. And now, essentially how I interpret this, right? It's like you start hearing about, I'm going to say Christianity, right? But in the more specific sense, you start hearing about Jesus and what he has done. Because now remember, in Hebrews and, well, Romans, these was written to the early Christians, some of the early church, some of the people who were just trying to find out, like Hebrews' whole premise was like talking to Jews, like this man that just died on the cross a couple years ago was actually the Son of God. You see, the first 10 books of Hebrews, chapters of Hebrews, was really talking about God, Jesus was fully man, but fully human, chief priest who died for our sins. Hebrews goes through all of this. Now in verse 11, you start to see this discussion of faith, but you go with Romans, talk about faith comes by hearing. But either way, now it says, okay, now you hear the things about this man, right? Now you need to decide for yourself, are you going to develop, like, do you believe what you hear? And now are you going to latch on to the things that you've heard? You know what I'm saying? So again, it isn't, we're saying the same thing here, right? But it isn't a blind faith when you talk about Christianity. It's about, you hear the things that God has done. In modern day, you would say you hear the testimony of the Christians. You hear the testimony of us. Things that God has impacted us in our lives, things that God has brought us through, right? And now you read the Bible and you say, oh, so this guy who lived 2,000 years ago actually died for our sins, right? I actually read this and I believe this. And now you start to develop a faith, but it isn't unbased. It isn't just unbelieving in the immaterial. In a sense you are, but it's grounded in something. And we saying the same thing, but like it's grounded in something. Because a lot of people just think like, oh yeah, just believe in this Jesus, but if you don't even know you believe in it, what you believe in it. Exactly,
because we live in a world where we have so many different types of Jesus that's marketed to us.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah, like we have this hippie Jesus, you know what I'm saying? That's like just peace and love. Bro, I was watching a video, man. I was watching a video and this lady, it was a debate between two groups of Christians that had different beliefs in lifestyles that they live, right?
Oh boy.
Not doctrinal beliefs, but in lifestyle. You live a certain lifestyle, I live a certain lifestyle. Let's talk about it, but we both Christians, right? This lady was saying, bro, wait, you can't bring no scripture to me to talk to me about the way I live because you invalidating my feelings in Christ type situation, right? And Buddy was like,
okay.
Buddy was like, nah, bro, I got some scriptures for you still though. You know what I mean? Because like,
as you should.
Yeah, because it's like, bro, you just telling me feelings right now.
Yeah.
But I trying to tell you what God said. I didn't make these scriptures up, bro. Now, if you want to debate the scriptures, we could do that. You catch what I'm saying?
That's a different discussion.
That's a different discussion. But you telling me, bro,
I can't even bring you the scripture. I can't even
bring you no scripture, bro, because that's like kind of like, I don't know, invalidating her relationship with Christ, bro. And I was watching it for the longest because I was like, bro, is this real? Like, is this real, bro? But, you know, I say all that to say it's like a wave of thinking that throughout Christianity or like just even religion in general, you define who God is. And God doesn't define who he is. You define that. It's people who say, bro, I love God. I don't got to read the Bible every day to learn about God. I learn about God every day. Like, they just praying and they just living and they call that a spiritual connection. But my thing is, bro, I have a different mindset. I believe that God wanted us to learn about him. So he made sure that it was in writing. You catch what I'm saying? Like, this is in writing for you. This is in writing. You know, like, when you try to negotiate salary or something, someone might give you a promise and you say, all right, put it in writing.
Let's put it in
Let's
writing.
put it in writing, bro. Like, because that way it ain't no confusion. Or we could limit the confusion. God put this thing in writing. But some people would still say, no, I don't really feel that X, Y, Z, you know?
Which is so interesting, right? Because, man, I agree. Like, God, let's even go back to I agree. God did put his stuff in writing so we could form a relationship with him and actually get to know him, because that's the way we get to seek him, right? Because think about it now. What I was going to say, but I wanted to finish that thought so I didn't jump around. But you go back to the 10 Commandments, right? God had just rescued his people from Egypt, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the first things he wanted to do was, okay, let me give you guys a set of laws that your ancestors had. But it is understood that these were verbal. Mm-hmm. You know, like, your ancestors kept these commandments, but it was a verbal agreement. They knew it, they passed it down verbally, but now let us memorialize these things in stone. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are what I want you guys to follow. These are what I want you guys to be for my people. You know what I'm saying? So now, again, he gave us the blueprint on how we get to know him. Like the book of Leviticus. Yeah, we guys have the sanctuary now. Guess what now? Here, you guys are sinful beings, but here's how you could come back and approach me and cleanse your sins. Here are the processes you have to go through. If you guys, touch blood or these are the rituals you need to go through in order to become clean again, spiritually pure again. And so, like, he sets out a way for us to get to understand him and his character, because, again, he wants us to have that relationship with him. And the only way you can have a relationship with someone is to actually spend time with them and actually get to know them and understand them. And God, to your point, God gave us a physical way to begin to understand his character. That's truly what he wants. And so now when people say, this is God to me, it gets very
subjective.
Very subjective. Yeah. And we don't really serve a subjective God. You know what I'm saying? Like, God is God. Like, we may experience God in different ways. And even that is still a little interesting to say, because that could be taken way out of context.
Yeah, but that's everyone, bro. Like,
exactly.
Like the version of Nakhaz that you get ain't the version of Nakhaz that my childhood friend might get. You catch what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
But it's just the dynamics of the person you are and who I am. You catch what I'm saying?
Exactly. So now, but that don't change who you are, and that's the point about it. Just because you experience God different than someone else, that don't mean you're trying to say, oh, God is this because it's the only way I see him. Like, even for the analogy, if someone at work was to see me now, right? Mm-hmm. Well, not in this context, right? But long story short, I'm different around coworkers who are just co-workers than co-workers who I am cool with, who are like co-workers / friends, more like, associates. And then like you and Dom and other people I grew up with who are my actual friends.
Right.
Like, and then family, like.
Right. And compare that to your people who's your cousins. And then compare that to your neighbors. Like, it's just a different vibe, bro.
It's just a different dynamic altogether.
Someone might describe you and they might say, bro, no, Earl is a very serious person. You know what I mean? Like, he just serious straight to the point. Someone might say, no, but Earl is a very, like, laughy person. Like, he always getting off. You know what I mean?
Like exactly. And it's just that's just a side of people you get. So now, back to faith.
Yeah, no, right. So that's the point I was making. Some people market Jesus in a way that is completely uncharacteristic to the Bible. Mm-hmm. And they market him, they tell you about him, and some people start to have faith in this man-made adaptation of Jesus. You catch what I'm saying? And that I find that a lot of people in Christianity do not. I don't think they take it seriously. You know what I mean? And I'm a person, I didn't always used to take my salvation seriously, or even like reading the Bible seriously, right? Mm-hmm. But in the realm of faith, a lot of people have faith. But what is it based in? You catch what I'm saying? Like, and And I feel like that's probably like the premise of like today's episode. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think I just remember a text. No, keep going. Let me see if I could find it.
yeah. So like, what is the faith? What is the faith based in? So to your point about it being blind, bro. Like to me, that's only like relevant if we saying that we blindly following God because we know who God is, instead of just saying like we blindly following this God, whoever he is. You catch what I said, or whatever he into.
I find this text, but this actually might be applicable later on.
All right, so
I might save it.
Let's continue then. So examples of faith. This Hebrews 11 still. I just love it in the realm of faith because it's like, and it goes back into the Old Testament, right? Now we getting into a different version of faith. Now we seeing faith in the activation of faith. Activation. That's what I'm looking for of faith, right? So verse 4, Hebrews 11 verse 4. By faith, Abel offered to God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, through which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and through it, he being dead still speaks, right? So now, I can keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
7. By faith, Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death, and was not found because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony, that he pleased God. But without faith, it is impossible to please God. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. By faith, Noah, being divinely warned of the things not yet seen, moved with godly fear, prepared an ark for the saving of his household, by which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is according to faith. So now we going over some of the early patriarchs in the book of Genesis.
The pre-flood patriarchs.
And what's interesting about that is the first thing it say, it was by faith that Abel offered to God a more acceptable, a more excellent sacrifice. Now, when we go through Romans and Galatians, right? Like you go through these texts, they make it seem like everything bro. No, I ain't even get there yet. A lot of times, bro, the term works, that's almost like a
no.
That's almost like a curse word, bro. You say works, people will start tensing up. Because now they I'm
saved by faith.
I saved by faith. I saved by faith in Christ alone. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And the Bible does say that, and that's what saves you. That's what saves you. Your faith in Christ saves you. But a fundamental part of faith is actually your works.
Exactly. And so this is why I wanted to read earlier, but I know it's going to come up, right? So James 2:19. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does that profit?
Mercy.
Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But if someone will say to you, you have faith and I have works, show me your faith without works, and I will show you my works by my faith. I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. But do you want to know, O foolish man, that faith without works is dead? And again, this kind of goes back to the Hebrews part, which we're about to get back into, right? But was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac as his son at the altar? Do you see that faith was working together with his works? And by works, faith was made perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled, which says, Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness, and he was called friend of God. You see then, a man is justified by works and not by faith only.
Mercy. And so, bro, I need to apologize because I show on this podcast I just quoted faith without works is dead. But that ain't how the text go. The text is have way more context than that, bro. just even listening to that just now, I'm like, bro, that's a sermon. Right
Exactly.
there. That's a sermon because here it is. I could sit in the living room hungry. Don't go in the pantry. Don't turn on the stove. Don't get no cereal, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I say, but I have faith God can feed me. I have faith God can feed me.
Exactly.
But ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen because I literally working against my faith because I ain't doing nothing.
Exactly.
I'm not doing anything. And so a lot of times it'd be like faith without works is dead. We say that and it means, bro, oh, you gotta do. You gotta do. Bro, this text was so practical. They were saying, bro, your brethren of faith, bro. You got food, but you ain't doing nothing because you think you can't live off faith. Bro, this ain't no magic trick, bro. Give the man the food. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he believe in a God.
He believe God will provide.
Yeah, but you have faith that Jesus Christ is, you believe in one God. Even the demons know who the real God is.
Exactly.
Bro. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is not solving your problem. It's like, it's like incomplete. When I was preaching my sermon the other day, I say, bro, faith without works, like a cell phone without a battery, bro. It's a cell phone. Yeah, bro, we know it's a cell phone, but how you could use the cell phone? God can't even use you if your faith don't have the works because you're dead. Because think about it, right? Let's say you have all the faith in the word that Jesus is God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus press on your heart, bro. I want you to go and feed the homeless.
Exactly.
But you just like,
nope.
No dread. The homeless can get fed though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
someone can do it.
Like I have faith God can provide.
Someone can do it.
Like God telling you to do it. You get what I'm saying? Your faith ain't doing nothing. Your faith is dormant at this point because you're not acting on it. You know what I mean? But in verse 4, when he's talking about Abel, what I was gonna say in Romans and Galatians, mainly in Galatians, when they talk about the law, they talk about works, bro. Like and it's like these things are done away with. You catch what I'm saying? Like no circumcision, no works, no this and that, no Levitical stuff. But here it is in Hebrews 11, they saying that it was by faith that Abel worked. Sacrifice. The same things that people would tell you, bro. Like, because our thing is we preach the 10 Commandments.
Yep.
That's one thing, that's a non-negotiable. You catch what I said? I believe in text. And I was gonna mention James too. James chapter 1. It's not really on faith, but it's about keeping the commandments and stuff like that. But it's like people try to look at you like, bro, you are a Pharisee if you talk about anything works related. Like you can only say we are in the new covenant. But even the new covenant don't say, bro, it's a new law. The covenant say I can put the law in your heart now. You get what I'm saying? So like that's what's new about the covenant, because before it was like tangible. It was tangible law, but Hebrews 8 verse 20. No. Oh man, I got the wrong text because they didn't even know verse 20. But anyway, I can get back to that. When they talk about the new covenant, that's in your heart or whatever. But here it is. They specifically mention sacrifice. That's the first thing. And that's works. That's works-based, bro. When Jesus died on the cross, we don't even have to do sacrifices no more.
Nope.
You catch what I'm saying? But it's like they saying, bro, this was how faith was represented, bro. This is how faith was realized because you could see it through what they did. Another example was Noah. What you mean Noah had faith? Did they not say that Noah built a whole ark?
Exactly.
That's works, bro. Like
over 120 years.
You catch what I'm saying, bro? If that ain't works, I don't know what that is. That's construction work. You catch what I'm saying? Like, bro, you have to chop down trees for that.
And some people be asking, so like, how are the two related? Because think about it, right? And this was what Nakhaz is trying to say. It's one thing to have faith in something, right? But like that's just the mental portion of it, right? But now if you truly believe in something, you act on the knowledge. It's just like information. Like you have to act on the information that you receive. If not, what good is the information? So now Noah, I believe it's going to flood. I believe what God is telling me, right? Even though I don't even know what a flood really truly is. I don't even really know what an ark is per se. But I have faith in what God is telling me. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to act on it. Cain and Abel, God told him what sacrifice he should offer. He understood the assignment and he acted on the information that he was given. And we see here in Hebrews, it says he was able to offer an excellent sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Now, Enoch, we don't know too much about the guy. I feel like we learned more about him in Hebrews than we did in Genesis.
That's true. That's true.
But we see. So now but that's what's so important, right? Because think about it. Like in Genesis, we know Enoch walked with God and was no more, right? But now we come in Hebrews and we see what his walking with God, which already is an action in itself, but we see what the walking in God entailed. It entailed him having a lot of faith in what God was showing him, and he had so much faith and was so diligent. He literally walked his way up into heaven. If you let a pastor tell it,
yeah. But it's like what's interesting about that is they say that he pleased God. But before he was taken, he had this testimony that he pleased God.
Exactly.
So like this still don't give us a lot, but we know the result of what he was doing. And then it was pleasing to God.
And then the verse right after that is so interesting too, because they say, but without the faith, it is impossible to please him.
Mercy.
And so now we start building precept upon precept, right? So now we see in Hebrews, without faith it is impossible to please God. In James, faith without your works is dead. So now, again, Earl reasoning, we could have a conversation about this. Nakhaz here, they could check me on this too, right? But so now you see it, without faith it's impossible to please God, but simultaneously, without faith, without your works is dead, because you need to act upon the things that you are given. So now, without your actions, without your faith and your actions that back up your faith, it is now impossible to please God. Because now we even keep on going now. We see by faith, Abraham obeyed when it was time, for when he was called out to go to the place which he would receive as an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. By faith, he dwelt in the land of promise, as in a foreign country, dwelling in the tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. By faith, Sarah herself also received strength to conceive a seed, and she bore a child when she was past the age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore from one man, and him as good as dead, were born as many as the stars of the sky in multitude, innumerable as the sand which is on the seashore. So now we see multiple instances of faith and action and even reasoning, right? Because think about it. They say Sarah, I can start from Sarah and go back up, right? But Sarah, she was able to receive the strength to conceive the seed, and she bore the child even though she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. And so who did she judge faithful? She judged God as faithful. She had faith in God. And think about it, at this time, Isaac wasn't born. She already had the mishap with Hagar. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But she still was able to judge God as being faithful because she saw what God was doing through her husband and for her husband, Abraham. That she said, you know what? This sounds impossible to me. Right? But my logic wants to tell me, and this is impossible. I'm already past the childbearing age by far.
Yeah.
It ain't happened all these years, right? But God, who I see already blessed Abraham, he done bring us out of Ur. We done in this new land. We wealthy. By the standards of those days, we are wealthy. God is above and beyond blessing him. You know, even though my mind telling me something, based on what I can see and what I've experienced, I can rationally come to the realization that, you know what, that same God that did all of these things could potentially somehow bless me to conceive a child, even after all the other things just doesn't logically point to this now, right? So now I can have the faith based on the experiences that I've experienced with my husband and even in my own personal life that, you know what, this is possible. And now she acted on the faith.
Bro, and what's so funny about that, if you remember the story, for those who recall in early Genesis, it was a laughable thing when she find out that she's about to have a child.
Quite literally.
You know what I mean? Like she burst out laughing. And this when they were visited by the angels, and the angel was like, wait, why you laugh? Like, he asked Abraham, like, why she laugh? You know what I mean? She's like, I ain't laugh, right? But you see how funny, like, it's like, don't be ridiculous, bro.
Like, this doesn't make no sense.
That just don't make no sense. That's like somebody telling me tomorrow, but you could be a billionaire. Nah, I wouldn't mind it. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, to me, that is one of the most improbable things to happen by tomorrow. You get what I'm saying? So it'd be like, yeah, right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this gotta be a joke. But if the person who telling you it, you know they good for it, you could actually say, bro, as crazy as that sound, but I believe
might be true.
Yeah, I believe you. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think I think that might even be why she mentioned in this, because it's like, first of all, it was a miracle that she had a child. You know what I mean? She had a healthy delivery, you know, and all that. But just despite the fact that it was like, it wasn't just generally accepted when she heard it at first. She laughed at it at first, but we don't know the in between, but we know it actually came to fruition. And now they saying, bro, it's by faith that it actually came into fruition. So even though it was like a funny scenario, she trusts that God was good for it. Like, you say this can happen, all right, this can happen. You know what I mean? And it came to pass. Like, when we get to the New Testament, we see several times when the disciples just didn't have faith. They actually saw Jesus.
Exactly.
They actually saw Jesus, bro. But when it come to what they didn't have faith in, sorry, if y'all heard that, that's firecrackers.
Yeah, right after the 4th of July.
Yeah, so when the storm was raging,
the storm was one.
When the storm was raging and they was petrified, you know, Jesus was like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, y'all faith small right now, bro.
You have little faith.
You know what I mean? Like, Jesus calms the waves. And that freaked them. They was like, bro, that's crazy that you can do that.
And let's even talk about that for a second. Right? This is a slight tangent, right? But think about it, right? Jesus didn't tell them you have no faith. Realize that. He didn't say you have no faith.
Yep.
But he said you guys have little faith. Because remember what I said earlier, faith comes by hearing, and by hearing the word of God. You guys have the physical manifestation of the word of God right in front of you. Right? You guys spending more time physically with me than any other people. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. You don't see a lot, bro.
Exactly. You guys have seen the miracles that aren't even going to get written about. Don't think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have seen the things that aren't even going to get written about. Because what did John say? If I had to write down everything or every account, it would be too much. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you guys are getting the ins and outs. So now in a storm, you guys...
petrified.
Think about it. You guys have faith that I am God. But you don't have enough faith to think I can calm the storm. But yet here you are with me.
Yeah, but I think they didn't have enough faith to know they was going to survive through the storm.
And that's the weird part about it too, right?
Yeah.
You think about it, like, if you guys truly, it's so interesting, right? Because if you guys truly had, and this is what Jesus was saying, if you guys truly had enough faith, you almost shouldn't even be scared in the storm.
That's what I get. That's what I get from
you guys should almost have enough power right now to tell the storms and winds themselves, yourself,
for real,
to calm down.
What would Jesus say? With faith the size of a mustard seed,
you could move a mountain.
You could move a mountain.
So think about that now. He said, because you know, with me, I'd have been like, y'all, you know, Behemoths, he's always exaggerating. Y'all ain't got no faith. But it was so interesting. Jesus didn't say y'all ain't got no faith, you know.
Yeah.
Y'all have little faith right now. Which is so wild, because like people like kind of skip over that, because, you know, everyone's kind of implied that, oh yeah, they essentially had no faith. But no, he said y'all have faith.
Little faith.
But y'all have little faith right now. And the reason why y'all faith should be so great is because, I don't want to say condescendingly, but y'all with me, y'all know, y'all are getting to experience God firsthand. And this is the amount of faith that y'all have in a time of crisis.
Bro, let me give you some context. It's Matthew 8, I read. Bro, in this chapter, he done healed many, right? He healed Peter's mother-in-law. You catch what I'm saying? And after they had left the storm, they saw the demoniac. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus getting busy, and the centurion servant is healed in this text. A leper is healed, all in this text. And so that mean, to me, I think.
And that's why even context even matters, right? Because now, to your point, well, sorry,
your point. Yeah, I think all of these things happen within hours or days or weeks within of each other. So all of these things are like closely knit together.
And now, after all of this, y'all just seen all of this, where y'all should have more than enough evidence.
Yes.
And now, again, going back to the whole actions and faith intertwining, at a moment of crisis, the action that you are exhibiting is panicking. And so this is why your faith is little, because you know who I am. You guys and then matter of fact, you guys waking me up so I could act. You guys know where to go to. You guys know where the power is. But your action right now is panicking. Your action right now is fear. And that, where people say, hey, where fear is, faith isn't. And where faith is, fear can't be, because the two can't coexist. Yeah. So now you guys having a battle right now because you're scared, but you want to have faith.
Well, you contradicting. And, you know, I give you another one, because I just was, and just for, you know, we 200 episodes in, just for context, when you see me looking at my phone, I ain't texting nobody. You get what I say? And I actually trying to pull up a text, because some of these things just happen fast.
Instantly, bro.
Like these train of thought is happening fast. So if we go to Matthew 14, verse 13, right? That's the story of feeding the 5,000, right? And so, you know, Jesus perform a miracle, right? But then when we go to Matthew chapter 15, verse 29, Jesus does the same thing. And it's so funny because let me get to the text. Matthew 15, verse 29. It's so fun. All right, I'm about to read it. Jesus departed from there, skirted the Sea of Galilee, and went up on the mountain and sat down there. Then great multitudes came to him, having with them the lame, the blind, the mute, the maimed, and many others. And they laid them down at Jesus' feet, and he healed them. So the multitude marveled when they saw the mute speaking, the maimed made whole, the lame walking, and the blind seeing. And they glorified the God of Israel. Now Jesus called his disciples to himself and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they have come. They have now continued with me 3 days, and have nothing to eat. I do not want to see them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. Then the disciples said to him, where could we get enough bread in the wilderness to fill such a great multitude? Jesus said to them, how many loaves do you have? And they said, 7, and a few little fish. Now, mind you, in chapter 14, prior to this,
exactly,
Jesus just feed 5,000 people. Now, this is the last people. You get what I'm saying? And they asking where we could get
enough food
from. You catch what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes, bro, sometimes our faith could be fickle and quick. You know what I mean? Like our faith could could just have as much faith as what you have done for me lately type of situation.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact. And that's what's so sad about it from at least our human perspectives, right? Because like there are things that can remove our faith or dwindle our faith, and they're so circumstantial. And most of these times is when things seem impossible, right? But that's when you should really have the faith.
That's real.
What's so interesting, right? Because now, going back to the original Hebrews meaning, right? Where it's like the evidence of things hoped for and the substance of things not seen. And that's where it gets interesting, right? Because to the original point that you was making earlier, when it seems impossible, right? Combine both our logics. When it seems impossible, but when you know the God that you serve and you can reason that this, even though it doesn't seem possible, I know all things are possible through God, then I can have faith that God can make it happen. And this ain't any unfounded reasoning. You could read the Bible for yourself. You could look back and examine your whole life and say, okay, what all has God brought me through? What all sicknesses has he healed me from? You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you look back at your worst day in your life and you're like, guess what? I'm still alive. And at that point, I don't know how I was going to make it. You know what I'm saying? At points in college, I was like, boy, I know I could pass this class.
Boy?
I say, boy, it's looking a little rough.
Boy?
After test one, you're looking like, okay, well, boy, I need to get this and this on these other two tests to even have a chance of getting a C.
Wait, I just, But you finish your point?
No, you can go for it.
I just remember something about that text because I wanted to make sure my fact was right.
Go for it.
So they feed the 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
That was in Jewish territory.
Mm-hmm.
But when it time to the 4,000, they had just crossed over the Sea of Galilee, and that's what separates like the Jews from the Samaritans, right? That same day, Jesus was just in Samaria, and he met the woman
at the well.
At the well, you catch what I'm saying? And so now the disciples, they didn't have faith because in their mind, God
only work
for the Jews.
Lord of mercy.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like when it's time for the Gentiles, it's like, bro, how we can feed them? You get what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And so I don't really have an anecdotal point based on that, but it's just so interesting to see how like the contrast in the times when we choose to have faith and when we don't choose to have faith. Because sometimes we put God in a box. You know what I mean?
We do that a lot.
A lot of times we put God in a box. And to me, that's where the blindness should come. It shouldn't be based on things which you think are possible. You catch what I say? It should be things that you think God is able to do. You catch what I'm saying? Not what you see, because that's illogical. Sarah would, if it was up to Sarah would have no faith because she had been 90 years without having a baby. I'm sure they've tried. It's 90 years. You catch what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure they've had a lot of trying, you know? And so now logic would say that this is not going to happen.
Oh yeah.
But let's consider it like this, right? Imagine they was trying since they was like, let's say 40.
Bro, she was trying so hard, she knew it wasn't possible. She said, "But Abraham, God give you this promise, take Hagar."
Take Hagar. So you know she was trying.
She didn't say, but
you know she was trying.
I extended all options.
But I don't know culturally what was happening. This probably wasn't the case. But let's say in a world where she didn't even want children, right? God give them the thing. You could be a father of many nations. So she buy in. She said, all right, for you to be a father, that would mean I would have to
be a mother.
I would have to be a mother, right?
Naturally.
So for sure they start trying. And they was trying, and they failed, bro. They fail and fail. And these godly people, this is a godly man and a godly woman. You get what I'm saying? Mercy. So it's like when you get old and God say, hey, you about to have a child. You probably done experienced so much heartbreak.
That's a serious thing.
That's a serious thing, bro. I could only imagine what that feel like, bro. You catch what I'm saying? So it's like, it was a lot of reasons for her not to have faith. But she still chose to do so, not because of what she's seen, but because of who God is and what God is able to do. You catch what I'm saying?
And that's so powerful, right? Because think about it, man. It almost implies that if she didn't have the faith, even though God promised it to them, they still need to have the faith to trust His promise that it would come, that it would be a reality.
I believe so.
I believe so. Because again, like Genesis don't point this right, but back in Hebrew, now come back in Hebrew, like it's interesting. They say, Sarah had the faith to have Isaac. You know what I'm saying? And it showed like that was such an important part. And like she had to have the faith. She for one had to come to the realization that this is possible. No matter what the doctor said at that point, if they had doctors' physicians, no matter what what Rachel and Leah had to do, eat the mandrakes, she probably didn't try all these things, right? Nothing happened. But now at a certain point, she had to come to the realization, you know what? God said it is going to happen. I need to accept and trust Him. I have seen what He has done in my life. And now I need to have faith that it's going to happen. It's going to happen on His time, that for His glory to be shown. You know what I'm saying? And that's the next thing. Like sometimes that's putting God in a box, but sometimes it's us wanting to have faith that God is going to work on our timing. You know what I'm saying? Because now think about it. Sarah might have had the realization, God said, okay, cool. That means it can happen like next year. 1 year go by, nothing happened. 2 years go by. Shoot, might have been like a whole decade goes by, nothing happened. But God already said it. But now, do you truly have faith? Same thing with Noah. God said, bro, it's going to flood. Our human minds almost can't even rationalize 120 years, bro. You know what it is to have to be preaching for 120 years?
And it ain't happened yet?
You know what I'm saying? And then when you in the ark for a whole week before it starts raining, like that's fate.
Yeah, that's fate.
You know what I'm saying? That is fate. That is letting God operate on His timing and trusting His word to be true. Based on the evidence that we can see. You know what I'm saying? And then and our understanding of Him. You know, because I'm sure Noah was walking and talking with God too, just like his grandfather Enoch was. Well, Enoch might have been his great-great-grandfather or something at that point in time. I can't remember the genealogy right now in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know what I'm saying? Like, Noah was exercising his faith. And that's it's interesting. It's interesting. You got something?
No, I just want to say the woman at the well was not in that text. It was another woman who was a Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
I try my best to be as correct.
Fact check.
Real talk, because I just be going sometime. You catch what I saying?
So back in Hebrews 11, I'm going to jump down to verse 17, right? If you want to say anything in between. Okay, so I jump down to verse 17, right? So by faith, Abraham, when he was tested, offered up Isaac. And he who had perceived the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said, Isaac your son shall be called, concluding that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from which he was also received him in a figurative sense. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph, and worshipped, leaning on the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when he was dying, made mention to the departure of the children of Israel, and gave instructions concerning his bones, which is interesting. You know, me tell them, like, you know, when y'all do go back, take my bones to be buried in the promised land.
And that's kind of interesting to me too, because he went into slavery when he was 16, right?
Super young, yeah.
Let's just say, okay, let's say he was a teenager, right? And when did you get time to study? Or like, I don't even know if studying was a thing or if it was just purely oral tradition back then. But you spent the vast majority of your life in Egypt. Yeah. But you still aware of this promise to be the promised land. You see what I'm saying? To reside in the promised land. So yeah, that's fate. That's fate. And then even Joseph, I don't know if they talk about his time in slavery, but he never wavered.
Yeah, Joseph was legit, bro. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. Joseph was legit. Joseph was legit.
And Joseph more astounding to me than even the Hebrew boys, although they have the fire thing. That's like a miraculous thing, right? But the Hebrew boys, they had enough evidence before them, compiled it so that they could reference. Joseph didn't have as much.
But every time he do good, but he keep on going lower and lower, bro.
Yeah.
When you think about it too, but it's like, man, it's like playing with a puppy, bro. Like you give the puppy a little something, the puppy now hook. Now the puppy just want to keep on playing. So now, bro, I get a coat of many colors. I get thrown in a pit. All right, I get sold into slavery. Right, finally rise up in Potiphar's house.
Yep. Now
I in jail. It's like,
yeah, boy.
Every time I think I'm making it, by getting sentenced back, I interpret the dreams.
Boy say he can remember me.
Wait, this boy forget me.
Yes, boy, he do the opposite. He forget me,
bro. And then until the time he finally remember, right? But so it's just interesting, man. But then think about having the faith all those years, right? Because now you ain't. What I were trying to say, like this, like again, this is before the Hebrew influence was even in Egypt. So you keeping all the knowledge of your God that you've learned from Jacob, throughout all these instances, never losing faith. From when you got sold into slavery, from when you got in Potiphar's house to keep your morals and say, but this would be a sin against my God. I ain't doing this, and I ain't doing this to my master Potiphar. To then get thrown in jail, to still keep faith and trust in God, that God somehow has a purpose for you in all of this. God didn't just send me to Egypt to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to never lose faith. Like, how much people would lose faith in that circumstance? What? Because clearly I try and do the right thing and ain't nothing working.
It happens every day. It happens every day. But like,
I say I gotta think hard.
I just think, but I just was watching before we come on pod. I was watching this video because I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes some foolishness on YouTube really just catch my attention, bro. This girl is a short, like them short videos was saying how proof that the Bible is like corrupted.
Oh boy,
right?
Those ones.
It was a Islamic sister, right? And so I like, let me hear this. Because I mean, I can be real, bro. It's a lot of stuff that's intriguing to say the least. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things some things have some merit, some things just completely out of proportion. I just wanna I don't want to be blindsided if I'm ever in an argument. So I just be watching these things, right? But anyway, it wasn't nothing. It was really just talking about how some versions don't have Matthew 8 verse 29.
Oh boy.
I'm like, okay, bro.
Okay.
That's like elementary stuff, bro. That's just difference in translations, bro. And some of these things, I understand why some texts don't be in just based on how you summarize when you retranslate it. You get what I'm saying? And so sometimes, I ain't saying all the time, because sometimes they trying to take out things that say God is the Son of God, or you know what I mean, whatever. All right, cool. And she was saying how she prayed to Jesus, he ain't answer. You know what I mean? And or he just didn't do what she wanted him to do. And she ended up converting to Islam, which is, in her opinion, the true faith or whatever. And my man, I like, bro, yeah, plenty times we staying faithful to God and things ain't going our way, allegedly. Because I can't say whether she do that or not. She could be lying. She could have been the most pious Christian. I don't know. So a lot of times people lose faith when they lock in on God and it does not pan out the way that they thought it would pan out. You know what I mean? I, as the type of person, I just get very discouraged when I don't see results. If I know I cutting this amount of calories for this amount of time, if I step on that scale, I need to lose the right amount of pounds or even more, but it can't be less. It can't be less, because then I'd say, oh man, I doing all this in vain. I might as well eat the cheesecake or the donut.
Bro, and that's a serious thing, bro. And that's a serious thing. Like when we put in the effort, when you put in the effort to get a certain result, right? But the results you get don't line up with what your expectations were. And now the question is that our fault? Because again, it's like us trying to, using the Christian sense, right? But us trying to force God to do what we want him to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's an interesting conversation. It's a super interesting conversation, because like, yeah, you can have faith in God. We know God can do all things, right? But now, again, that doesn't mean that God needs to do all things because you want him to. You know, I was coming back to the Hebrew boys example, right? Like, again, God didn't have to rescue them. The story literally could have been they were martyred, like Stephen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We see where that happened, where it didn't go the way you would and think it was.
Exactly. And Stephen had a very nice speech before he got stoned.
Yeah, very nice and peaceful. He do a Hebrews 11. He going back all through the Bible.
He literally did. Like, he gave them a nice history of how we got to this point here.
And they still stole him, bro.
But they called for that.
But you know they call, because he's like, bro, all right, y'all are actually following a pattern that we already been through. This is a cycle. And I trying to show you, but it's happened before, bro. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, no, I ain't buying it, buddy.
So going back to this, so like, you could have all the faith in the world, right? Which the faith is well grounded, but it doesn't mean that God has to act because we want him to. Like the Hebrew boys, they had that even if faith, because yeah, we know what we need to do. We know what we ain't gonna do, and we know what God can do. And even if God don't do what we know he can do, we ain't doing what we know we ain't supposed to do.
Exactly.
And they were thrown into the fire. And by faith, God did what he was supposed to do. And Stephen, he had faith that God could have saved him too.
Yeah. But
he was willing, but he was prepared to die because this is what I am standing on.
And I need to do a deep study on that, because I feel like only in the New Testament, no. I guess you could see it in the Old Testament too, but I feel like mostly in the New Testament, you see martyrs happening. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a lot of times people put God to the test in the Old Testament and God comes through. But the difference in the New Testament is like Jesus, he tells you that you're going to be persecuted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even in Paul, he say, those who live godly lives in Christ Jesus would suffer persecution. Like it's not it's not like unexpected type of situation. You know what I mean? Like, but in the Old Testament, I don't think they spoke like that a lot. You catch what I'm saying? So I just feel like put your faith in God regardless, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, not putting your faith in God, it ain't gonna help the situation. You catch what I'm saying? Like, it ain't, your faith shouldn't be conditional based on what you think the outcome is going
to be.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So, correct. Yeah, because I do think that's one of them existential questions, bro. Like, why some people in the Bible are delivered when they call on God, and some people aren't. And then some people, they standing on that by call on God, he will save you. Like, he will save you, right? But then you could see a whole bunch of people like Jeremiah and them, they have to live in this city but get half burned down. I mean, but at least they
Why'd you say it like that? Why'd you say
I just trying to be
laugh,
no,
but
I just trying to be real, dog. You catch what I- like that's
Yeah.
like these type of situations I just really be contemplating. You know, I just be like, bro, like, why John the Baptist had to get killed? If Jesus said he was the greatest of all the prophets, you end up getting killed. You know what I mean?
I agree. I definitely agree. And it's so interesting, right? Because now, when you start examining, you know, ever so close to John the Baptist, for example, right? He was one of the greatest prophets, but we also, he had his own beef with Herod.
Yes.
So, again, right? I don't want to say it's self-inflicted, right? But you was poking the bear, know that you're poking the bear in the right fashion.
Yeah.
But you was poking, that's a personal beef. So now, you get into this vibe, it's like you pick up this mantle knowing that, boy, I got time today to deal with this particular issue. Now, God ain't, it's almost like righteous indignation or whatever. Like, God ain't really send me on this mission, even though I can say, like, going on because what you doing ain't right. But I picking up this issue right here. I picking up this case, but God ain't really tell me pick up this case.
Yeah. What I always land on is,
and that's for John the Baptist specifically.
Yeah. And that's just speculation.
Yeah.
But what I always land on is the idea that when we think about end time prophecy, right? Daniel, and this another reason for my theory on Old Testament martyrs versus New Testament. Because even in the book of Daniel, which is Old Testament, right? We just covered this on our last episode. They talk about the little horn, right? And the tension that's going to be between the little horn and the saints. How the saints going to be martyred. That's right. Like, this is prophesied, right? So it ain't like when this happened, you shouldn't be blindsided because God prepared you for this, right? If we was being vigilant and actually studying and asking for the Holy Spirit, right? But if God delivered everybody every time, right? It's gonna make for a more traumatic experience when the devil actually show his true colors. Because God prophesies that the devil shows his true colors because God knows the natural evolution of things. He knows that we're gonna get to a time when the world is gonna be so sinful, right? Like, so sinful, and people are gonna be given over to all of their desires. The Holy Spirit only gonna be with those who keep the seal of God. You catch what I'm saying? But those who take the mark, they just gonna be, they're gonna pledge their allegiance to the beast. And the reason I'm saying that is because they say, the world chased after the second beast in Revelation chapter 13. They talk about how, the world marveled after the beast or whatever, right? And so God knows that this is going to happen, right? He put it there to prepare us for it. And so when we see the martyrs in the New Testament, these are actually to be examples for us in these days and the end times. So that if all throughout the Bible, it was like, oh, God save, God save, God save, right? And God knows there's gonna be a time when saving just ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? I think it would be messed up, bro, if he just leave us high and dry that time. Like, when you think,
I have a friend who says you gotta set realistic expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that is what happened.
Yeah.
To your point. To your point. Like, it would be unfair, quote unquote, but it would lead to a false representation if everybody every time did get delivered.
Right. Because it's not the world that we live in. Like, we live in a sinful world. You catch what I'm saying? And it's definitely a reward in heaven for those who, persecuted for God's sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, who loses his life for my sake will find it. That's what Jesus said. And then, so most of the time, bro, like, you see people like David, who was being persecuted by Saul. You catch what I'm saying? Like, he was saved. You see Elijah, you know what I'm saying? He was being persecuted by Ahab
and Jezebel. Even in that case too,
it was a bunch of prophets
that didn't pop in my head.
Yeah,
too,
and that's why I bring that up, because That was the only thing that really popped up in my head where I was like, okay, yeah.
Jezebel, she got busy.
She was getting busy.
Remember, even your boy, he was destroyed. He literally ran away. And that was the whole,
he was scared.
the calm voice, right? Because he was scared.
And so to my thing is, the only reason why I didn't really even bring that up earlier is because I don't really know. We don't know nothing but these prophets besides the fact that they get killed. You catch what I'm saying? So I don't know if these was apostate or whatever. I can't say that. That's just me speculating. They probably wasn't, you know what I mean? But it's evidence that, you know, the people of God have been persecuted. And that was Stephen's old speech, though. That's what Stephen's speech really was. But
yeah.
I think I strayed away long enough. At the end of the day, Stephen had faith in God to be delivered, or the faith that God's will was done. And at the last second, right before Stephen died, he saw the Holy Spirit, right? Like, see, he started lighting up. You catch what I'm saying? And I think he might have said some words. I haven't read that in a while. I think he might have. No, that was Jesus who said, "Father, forgive them."
Well, you find Stephen stuff, right? I could keep on reading from Hebrews 11. Since we got a little bit more to go in Hebrews 11. Some stuff at the end is kind of nice too, right? So, verse 23: by faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden 3 months by his parents because they saw he was a beautiful child and they were not afraid of the king's command. And it's interesting when you say, what faith had to do with that? They put Moses in the river. And in a sense, he just prayed God that he was going to protect him. They didn't know that he was going to end up in Pharaoh's daughter. They didn't know who was going to find him. It could have been just another random Egyptian who might have killed him. They know this Hebrew boy don't look like us.
Might have get eaten from an alligator or something.
Exactly.
That's what I see. See, we know the outcome of the story, so we don't be asking the hard questions, bro. But I like, where you put this man, this baby, in a basket in a river, bro. He could have toppled over.
Full of crocodiles.
I like, bro, I don't know what papyrus really is, right? But I just like, how strong was this basket? Because it might have sunk a little, you know what I mean? Like, it might have had some type of weakness somewhere in there.
For real.
Yeah,
for real.
So plenty of things could have gone wrong. But y'all had faith that this was the way
to go
to deliver. But to the point, but Stephen, he was full of the Holy Spirit, right? And he stood up and he saw Jesus standing at the right hand of God, and he said, "Look, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." So I know it was something Holy Spirit and seeing involved.
So now I keep going. Verse 24: by faith, Moses, when he became of age, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than enjoy the passing pleasures of sin, esteeming that the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures of Egypt, for he looked to the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest who destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, whereas the Egyptians attempting to do so were drowned. By faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were encircled for 7 days. By faith the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe when she had received the spies with peace. And what more shall I say? For the time would fail me to tell you of Gideon and Barak, Samson, Jephthah, also of David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, worked righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of the weakness were made strong, became valiant in battle, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead, rise to life again. Others were tortured, not accepting deliverance that they might obtain a better resurrection. Still, others had trials of mockings and scourgings, yes, and of chains and imprisonment. They were stoned. They were sawn in two, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and mountains, in dens and caves of the earth. All these, having obtained a good testimony through faith, did not receive the promise, God having provided something better for us, that they should not be made perfect apart from us.
Amen. So I like Hebrews chapter 11. It's so many texts that talk about faith directly and indirectly, but this is a text that talks about other texts
in the Bible,
that talk about faith. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is like just a really good summary, of faith and examples, and like the author of Hebrews say, bro, I don't even got the time to go through all
of them. And it's so funny. Like he didn't have the time, but he's still like kind of, I can name these people.
I can
kind of show you some of the other stuff, what happened to other people. If you know the stories, you kind of know the lions. Oh, we know that's Daniel. The quench the fire. Oh, that's the three Hebrew boys. You know what I'm saying? But and even going back up, right? We see all these other things that just happened, and we just seeing so much actions, right? Because think about it, Passover in itself.
Yeah, works. That's
y'all had to have faith that what God said was true, and then y'all had to have faith that sprinkling this blood on your doorpost is going to protect you from a plague that is going to happen.
Bro, you had to get the lamb. I mean, you might already own it. You had to kill it. You had to season it with bitter herbs. You had to eat only enough for your house. You catch what I'm saying? Like, then you had to go paint the doors and all that. You catch what I say?
All by a certain time, too.
All by a certain time, bro. And get inside and be inside.
Exactly.
You know, but that's a lot of work.
Exactly.
That's a lot of work.
And then to help be packed and ready, because you all know, because the things they, but when this happens, you gotta be ready to go.
Yeah, with your staff in your hand.
So now you have to believe that. Think about it. 9 plagues already happened at this point. Just putting ourselves in this predicament. 9 plagues already happened at this point. Pharaoh ain't budge yet. Pharaoh ain't budge yet. Now we have to go above and beyond, because now this could be the one that can cause Pharaoh to budge. Truly and really and truly. But you have to have faith. And then if you had the faith, what you doing? You actually got to go through all this stuff, because guess you could have had faith, but if you didn't do it, someone would be dead in your house. You know what I'm saying? And then Rahab, same thing. She had faith. Then she had to put the red piece of rope outside our window. Yep. The walls of Jericho. It doesn't make logical sense for us to walk around this city every day, and on the 7th day, we walk around 7 times, blow some trumpets, and the walls fall down. But guess what? If we didn't have faith, we wouldn't have done it. If we didn't do it, we would have never conquered Jericho.
Like, yeah, bro. Like, you would have been like, but it's stupid, bro.
Oh, for sure.
They probably was laughing at y'all and thing, like, just walking around every day, like.
For sure.
Yeah, they go again. Like, yeah, no. You gotta have faith, bro. That's like when they say trust the process, like a sports term. You gotta believe in God. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta trust that God ain't gonna lead you astray, and God actually have the ability to do what you ask him to do, but also that God have your best interest at heart.
Exactly. And then even to your point earlier too, like we see at the end, it shows the good and the bad. Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff that happened with people who had faith. But guess what? Even people who had faith, they were still tortured. They were still they were still mocked. They were still scourged. They were still imprisoned. They were still stoned. They were still sawn in two. They weren't above temptation. They were still slain with the sword. They were still wandering around and destitute and tormented. They were still afflicted. So again, the people who say, you have the faith and you believe in God, things will change. Guess what? You might still have a hard life. Unfortunately, you might still believing in God, especially in these last days. It's such an interesting experience, because when you start truly having faith and you truly start putting your faith into action, you start to see the world come against you in certain ways now. And does God deliver? He absolutely does. He absolutely does. But we have instances here where it says, oh yeah, these people who had faith, they still went through some stuff. Some were delivered. Some were thrown in jail. Like some escaped the fire. Some were sawn in two.
Yeah. So the question sometimes is be like, do you have faith unconditionally, or is it like, I have faith that you could do things my way, or else I ain't having no faith at all? Either do things my way so you could get your faith, as if God like is desperate for our faith, or you could just I'll put things in my own hands type of situation. You know what I mean? So the Hebrew boys, bro, we covered them recently.
Yeah, about 5 weeks ago at this point, I think.
Yeah, and so they Nebuchadnezzar was asking them what God could save you from the fire. They say God will save us. meaning that God have the power to save us. Like like you say, what God? Our God, bro. Like that's a layup for him, right? But even if he does not, these young men, they had already been through persecution, bro. They seen people die, bro. They seen people get killed.
You already take us from our land.
From our land, bro. Like we've been through that. Like you made us eunuchs, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like we've been through some situations where we probably had faith that it could go another way. You catch what I'm saying? But then you understand.
We didn't have to go to God and be like, God, why me?
Exactly. Like we already been through all this, bro. But it don't change who God is, bro. And it don't change sometimes the role that we play in our, you know what I mean? In our shortcomings. The Hebrew boys were in that predicament because generation after generation, their ancestors, and I don't know who they was before they came down here, but the Jews at large were apostate. They turned away from God. They served idols. They even was doing crazy sacrifices unto other gods. And it's been prophets after prophets saying, bro, like, go back to God. But they didn't want to listen to them. They want to they want to listen to false prophecies and stuff like that. It's like they played a big role in the way things was going. And God tell them this was going to happen, bro. And that's what just tripped me up about the Bible, bro. A lot of times we see things that happen according to what God has already told us was going to happen. You know what I mean? It's a covenant, bro. Like, if we faithful to him, he faithful to us type of situation. You know what I mean? And sometimes we live life on our own way. And then when things go awry, we like, oh, God, woe is me type of situation. But we haven't been checking for God like at all before. You see what I'm saying? This type of situation. And sometimes God put us in these predicaments to get our attention, bro. Like Joseph had to go through all of that, bro, to save many people, bro. To save many lives. That's what Joseph even recalled. That's what he even told his brother. He said, bro, like, God intended this for good, bro. Like what I went through to save plenty people. You know what I mean? To save our lives. You know, the way the text ends, because Paul shares similar sentiments. Like, and I about to read the NIV because it like it complicated. Right? I can go ESV, right? So, you know, 37, verse 37, they were saying how they were stoned, they were sawn too, they were killed with the sword, they went about in skins of sheep and goats, destitute, afflicted, mistreated, of whom the world was not worthy, wandering about in deserts and mountains and in caves, in dens and caves of the earth. And these, though commended through faith, did not receive what was promised. So things did not go the way that it was promised, because God is faithful and just to us. You catch what I'm saying? Since God had provided something better for us, that apart from us, they should not be made perfect. So it basically saying, bro, things ain't go as planned, bro, but something even better is awaiting you in heaven. And that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. It's some people, I remember this Pan-African man was like, oh, I don't believe in Christianity because they the only religion that tell you gotta wait till you die to get your heaven. But the white man of his heaven on earth, this man of his heaven on earth, that was really his thing. And bro, stays be talking with such gusto, bro. It might move you. You get what I'm saying? But my thing is, bro, but that does not change the fact that there is a heaven. This earth, bro, this earth filled with plenty sorrows, but plenty people. Steve Jobs, like, you could have all the money. You see what I'm saying? You could have all the fame. You could have all the wisdom. But this world is unforgiving, bro. Like, you could be sick. You catch what I'm saying? Some things can be taken away from you. Like, this ain't the world that you want to plant all of your riches in. You catch what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to store all your riches on earth. When we read Ecclesiastes, they talk about, bro, I store everything on earth, but I can't take it with me.
No.
I gotta leave it for someone after I go.
Some fool.
So I don't know if he could be a fool or he could be wise. You know what I mean? These things are in vain. You catch what I'm saying? But you think about people. I remember I was talking to this man. He was a security guard, bro. I mean, he was just chopping it up. And he was telling me how he was so up back in the day. You catch what I'm saying? Like, he used to, sell illegal narcotics or whatever. But he was saying how he was so up, bro. He was so up. He get jam up and now, you know what I'm saying, he have to do whatever job he could take, right?
Yeah.
And it made me reflect on a lot of people who had this fast money lifestyle, bro. When you think about all of them, the drug dealers and, you know, all of these kingpins and stuff like that, bro, they reign for a short span of time, bro.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna know, but no, it ain't too common, bro. You hear about the most famous drug dealers or whatever. You ain't gonna hear about them doing 10, 20, 30 years on top of the game.
Mhm.
A lot of them must be like 5 good years where they just go on crazy. They get everything they want and they, you know, lose their life or go to jail, big bus. You catch what I say?
Yeah.
Type situation, bro. It's like, but like this world, bro, is plenty pleasures in life. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot to have fun. You know, it's a lot of fun to have. You catch what I'm saying? A lot of good moments, but this is not the end. This is not the end goal, and we shouldn't be hung up on investing everything into the world. We serve a God that is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins. You catch what I'm saying? He's
Amen.
a faithful and just God. That's basically the characteristic that I want to say, and I feel like it's not as hard as we make it to be faithful and just back to him. But it does come at the expense, bro. The way the world is set up, there's so many things to distract us. Lust of the eye, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life, bro. All of these things we battle with on a daily. And all of these things try to take away from us having faith in God. You know what I mean? Oh, I want to have faith in God, but God want me to live a humble lifestyle. But I want to play the pride of life. Oh boy, I want to be on top of the game. You catch what I said?
On top of the world.
On top of the world, bro. I have faith that God want me to be in a monogamous relationship, having one wife. You catch what I saying? But boy, that lust of the flesh, though. You catch what I saying? I just want to keep looking. Like I don't have faith that this me speaking hypothetically because I don't want people to cut this.
Yeah, mercy.
Yeah, like
mercy.
But some people like they don't have faith that they could have a happy, fulfilling relationship with one person. You catch what I'm saying? They don't have faith in God's example for marriage, like what he gave us, bro. Like his blueprint for marriage. One man, one woman together. Some people feel like, bro, can't be like that, bro. Like I have certain needs where it's like I gotta have multiple type of situations.
Yeah.
That's a very common like belief. You know what I mean? Some people just don't have the faith. They don't have the faith to believe God, you know? And sometimes they understand God, like I hear you, but God, what you telling me? Dying my style, bro. You get what I say? I can't put my faith in that because I want to put my faith in something else.
Yeah, something that suits me better. If you even go back on, we go to Hebrews 12, it shows you who is the perfecter of our faith, right? Because now you start getting into it and you can get a bit antsy, like how can I even please God through my faith and my actions, right? But it shows you that Jesus Christ is the author and perfecter of our faith. You know what I'm saying? So now the same person you have faith in and you believe in it is the same person who's helping you in your faith, in growing your faith. And faith also comes by hearing the word and the word of God. And so you have multiple instances where it shows you how to increase your faith. It shows you the correct actions by your belief in what God has done for you, by your belief in where God has brought you to, right? And then in Lamentations, it's saying, "Great is your faithfulness, O God, who renews the mercies every morning." And so now we're seeing it's almost like we're not even really trusting in our faith; we're trusting in God's faithfulness, who is faithful to deliver us, who is faithful to bring us through, who is faithful to do all these things for us. And because we know we serve a faithful and just God, and we have belief in a faithful and just God, it should lend us to be able to have the faith in God, right? Because it's not a blind faith. It's not a fly by the seat of your pants faith. It's not a gambling type of faith. It's actually an assured faith. It's like we know what Jesus has done. We can read it. We can read the testimony of the saints. We have our own testimony. And that's what God is calling on us to do. And not only just believe. He actually wants us to put it in action, to actually show the world who he is, to show the world his character. And I think that's the biggest thing about faith, man. It's actually like putting your money where your mouth is. And that's what we say in layman's term, putting your money where your mouth is. But in the biblical sense, it's like putting your actions in what you believe. Don't say you believe God is good, but you're complaining about everything in your life. don't don't be out here saying, oh yeah, I have faith in monogamy and you have like 5 different women. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be out here saying that God will provide, but you out here like not trying to make a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, have the faith, trust God, and then do the work. Do the work. Put your money where your mouth is, man. And I think that's what a lot of us Christians have to get right, is actually backing up our faith with our actions, and then not just saying, "Oh yeah," with like, you know, like you can't like we're just saved by faith, because we are, like, but faith is just, we are saved by faith and by faith alone. That is correct, and the faith alone is in believing in Jesus Christ, and that is the absolute truth, right? But now, once you go a layer deeper, what does that mean? And I think too many Christians use that first verse as a cop-out to not do anything. Because the first verse is totally true and completely true. I'm not taking away anything of it, because that's a beautiful verse. It's a beautiful verse that freed us from having to do sacrifices, and having to do all of these other rituals. You was going to say something?
Yeah, no, I think the verse actually is beautiful, and it's a relief, because it tells you that, bro, no amount of sacrifices you do could buy your way into heaven.
Exactly.
You catch what I'm saying? Like, no amount of labor, you know what I'm saying, could get you your salvation. It's like, okay, thank God. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, we sinful, bro. We can sin every day.
Exactly.
But it's like you could be in a constant state of work. And that's why they say Jesus is our rest, bro. You catch what I'm saying? Because it's like, we don't have to be doing these actual works. Because in the Old Testament, you know, it do say how Noah was saved by grace. That's in Genesis chapter 6. You catch what I'm saying? It was delivered by his grace. But a lot of the way the Mosaic law was structured, it was like a lot of work that had to be done to atone for these sins.
Yeah, man.
It's a lot of work that had to be done. You know what I mean? But it's like, because of Jesus' sacrifice, we don't have to be, you see what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to be held by all of these things. But one thing that's missed is that the fact that a lot of people bought into the work that had to be done because they had faith in the God who told them the things that need to be done. You get what I'm saying? So now when we get to the New Testament, they saying, bro, we justify, like, we save by our faith, bro. Don't get that mistaken, bro, because y'all was so work-based. But remember, bro, it's because you believe in God. You catch what I'm saying? But believing and having faith in God does not materialize by standing still. That is not an example of faith. Faith has action that comes with it. You catch what I'm saying? So, like, later in the Bible, they tell us, bro, faith without works is actually dead. You catch what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, you don't use, people used to use works as a crutch. Yeah. They didn't have faith at all, bro. They just like, bro, well, if all I have to do is sacrifice and
exactly
do this and do that, but I straight, because you might just have the endurance, the stamina, like the physical stamina, just be like, all right, I can do my sacrifice. I know what I gotta do. That's what I'm saying. But now that's a way of people abusing the works, right? But it's like, if you say, bro, you don't even gotta.
You ain't gotta do nothing.
You gotta do nothing, bro, because nothing you could do to earn your way. It's only faith. It's only faith. People could abuse that as well, and we see that
they do abuse it, right? Because now it's like the flip side. So now, if I don't have to think about it, like, because you believe in Christ, but how do I know that? Because what's stopping you from believing in Christ today, but then you believe in Baal tomorrow,
bro? I was watching a video. Someone was like, bro, okay, you have faith in God, right? Like, you might truly believe that God is King. God is the Messiah, right? Son of God. You have faith in that. But you have a problem, bro. Like, you a serial killer, bro. You kill people every day. Every day.
Mercy.
Is that person saved? Is that person saved? On one hand, he has faith, but he has no works. Jesus says we will know them by their fruits. If a tree does not produce the fruit, it is cut down and thrown into the fire. This is an analogy that Jesus made. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, bro, if it is a mango tree, it's going to yield mangoes. That's how we know it's a mango tree. You could say you're a Christian, bro, but you do not yield any Christ-like fruit. As a matter of fact, all of the fruit that you yield resembles the devil. How are you a Christian? Your faith is dead because it has nothing
It doesn't bearing any fruits.
It is not bearing any fruit. It has nothing outside of faith, outside of the
belief.
The belief,
and
bro.
that's the next thing, because like again, what did he say in James? Even the demons believe.
Yeah.
So like that's which was pretty good. That's actually a good bar, right? Because just believing don't separate you.
It really don't. And the demons have an advantage that we don't have because the demons witnessed it, right?
Yeah, they used to be in heaven at some point,
right? But so it's like the demons. They whole thing is, bro. We ain't even arguing over who God is. We trying to get you to not know who it is, but we just don't serve Him. Type situation, right? You right there and acting the same way. But it's like it's one thing if you did not know who God was, right?
Yeah.
You know who God is, but you do not serve Him. Type situation,
exactly.
Right? This is the same thing. It's just, that's the analogy. Even the demons do that, bro. Just to if just knowing who He is and believing that He is God
was literally good enough.
Yeah, like all the demons would have been straight. But that just ain't how it is, bro. So I mean, I guess we could,
I can just end it.
Yeah, we could officially end it, bro. Like long overdue episode on faith. You catch what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Without it is impossible to please God. You see what I'm saying?
Amen.
It has a twin called works. They go hand in hand together.
Two sides of the same coin.
Two sides of the same coin.
And I think that's the problem. I know we try to end it right, but I think that's the problem, right? Like a lot of people try to separate them, but they literally go hand in hand. It's one coin. On one side, heads is fate. On the other side, tails is actions. They go hand in hand. You can't separate the two. And I think for so long in Christianity, that's been the divide. We've been trying to separate the two to the earlier point. But when you realize the two are inseparable, that's where it goes. Because again, your point was perfect. They were offering sacrifices because of their faith. There was a hand-in-hand action. And now we have faith that we are saved, so we no longer have to do the work of sacrifice, but now we have to do the work of actually being a follower of Christ. And think about the work itself. Follower of Christ is already an action. You are following after Christ. So now if you're following after Christ, what example did Christ leave? Right? And you could say it's the 10 Commandments, which it is. He coming back for those who kept the commandments, right? But if you're following after Christ, you're actually doing the things He did and living the lifestyle He did, and all these are actions. Because you're doing the actions because of your faith. And I think that's really what it boils down to. Like, if you are a Christian, being a Christian means you have faith in Christ. And that means you want to live the life that Christ lived. And these are actions. It isn't just a belief thing. The belief is just the first. It's like drinking milk as a baby. But now you actually want to go into solid food. The solid food is the action said back up what you say you believe. And I think like that, I think that's the crux. And I think that's like the basis of what faith truly is and the importance of it. Because too much people try to separate it, but it can't be separated. I think that's the problem. You're trying to take away something that can't be taken away. Mm-hmm. And if you truly understand what the whole beautiful part about the Bible is, Christ came and died for our sin. That is amazing. And we are all, we can never repay the price. And that's the whole point. We can't repay the price. But what He asks us to do, live the life I live. Mm-hmm. Live the life I live. I was the example for you to follow.
Show me that you care.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way to show me that you care. Show me that you want. Like, show me that you actually want to be like partake in my kingdom. Just show me.
Yeah. If you love me, keep my commandments.
Exactly. And that's what it is. If you love me, keep my commandments. Have the faith to love me, and then do as I say. Keep my commandments. Do the action. Do the work. And again, you guys, if you disagree with us, hit us up in the comments. We definitely appreciate you guys for tuning in for us for 200 episodes. That's still crazy to think. Hopefully, we have 200 more to go, God willing.
By the grace of God.
But it's been great, bro.
Yeah, bro.
It's actually been great. Like,
I agree.
Who would have thought living in Keller Road would turn into this podcast?
Boy, 200 episodes, boy. This is the most consistent thing I ever do, bro. I ain't lying. Because bro, I made a lot of songs. Right? But if you look at my discography, I don't got a lot of songs. Bro. If you want to run on a car set, it could be quick. It could be done quick. Because I didn't consistently put out anything. You get what I'm saying? But it's like every week we got to do skits. You know what I mean? Every week we got to have just dialogue on the Bible. I'm glad that we actually have a book. Like, because it would have been different if we just talking on topics every week. Yeah,
because then that's where it gets weird, right? But I do actually like how we actually follow the Bible. And then we do episodes like this every now and again where it's based on a topic of the Bible. Like, we probably should do more of these. I do like the actual, like, just conversation and trying to wrestle with thoughts. Because it's like episodes like this is more of our behind the scenes conversations in a way than our actually on camera conversations, which I do like. And it gives the audience like episodes like this give the audience, I feel like, more of a chance to be like, oh, I don't really agree with what Earl say there, or I don't really agree with Kaz say there, and then, you know, challenge us on it, which I do like. But yeah, man, definitely appreciate everyone, man. Like 200 episodes has been great. We definitely love you guys. Hopefully you guys keep on tuning in, and shout out to all our supporters. I was going to start naming names, but then I would get in trouble.
Yeah, nope.
So appreciate it.
All right. In this episode, we took a detour from the usual and had an open dialogue about faith. We used Hebrews 11 as a reference. We spoke about what faith meant to us, different examples of faith, and how necessary faith is in our everyday walk with Christ. Thank you for tuning in to our 200th episode, and join us next week as we continue along in the book of Daniel. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.